Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address. I'm Lawrence Presman. I am the host of this show and the guest as well. If you guys have never watched the show, it is week 18 in the NFL, and I'm going to go down every single game on the board, both the Saturday night games and all of the Sunday games. I'll give you my thoughts on every single one. And if I have a pick, I'll give that outside total, first half bet, whatever it happens to be. And there will be a lot of passing along the way, just to let you guys know. This is, to me, the hardest week of all to handicap the NFL, and I will be passing a lot, and I mean a lot. So please understand, people use this information to make bets with their hard-earned money, and I'm not going to make shit up. I will go down the board top to bottom, and if I pass, I pass. Anyway, the way this show works is I start going through all the games, and then after that, Meghan Payton will be joining us. She's got prop bets for you all for this coming NFL week, and then at the end of the show, I give out my 3 show best bets. Let's start with my record. Awesome week last week, another winning week for my clients. I am now currently 108 wins and 83 losses for my clients. I'm up 29 units of profit on the season. My show best bets are a not very good 24 wins and 26 losses. And all my show plays and leans, excluding my prop bets, are 117 wins and 111 losses. Keep in mind, the only thing that is important to me are my client bets, and they're up 29 units of profit on the season. Okay, let's get into it. Guys, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going down the card based on the rotation schedule. And a lot of games have been moved around time-wise, so it's going to sound a little bit out of whack, but that's all I can do. We're going down through every game, top to bottom, by rotation schedule. So let's start with the first game, the Kansas City Chiefs, plus 9.5 against the Las Vegas Raiders with a big total of 52.5 on tap. Well, KC is looking to win this game, period, end of story. Anything can happen on Sunday, especially with the Bills and their mental health right now. They could lose. Cincinnati has a tough game against Baltimore. Kansas City wins. They have a chance to get that number 1 seed, and they're going to do their damnedest to win this game. I also believe we'll see a strong effort from the Raiders as they try to end the season on a positive note, and especially against a rival team. So what do we do in this game? Well, there's no chance I'm betting the Raiders at plus 9.5, and there's no way I'm betting KC at minus 9.5. I can't bet the total either, as 52.5 is just a perfect line. But not to worry, I do have a bet for you guys. This will be a general theme throughout week 18, but I am looking to take Kansas City minus 5 in the first half. I think these teams who need to win, Philadelphia, Kansas City, San Fran, etc., I think they come out guns blazing in the first half of all their games. So let's look to take Kansas City in the first half at minus 5. Now we turn our attention to the Saturday night game, 8:15 Eastern start, Tennessee plus 6.5 against Jacksonville with a total of 40 on tap. The line was 38, the total, and it has been bet up to 40. Obviously, we know the magnitude of this game. The interesting thing about this game is the Jags are in no matter what if the Dolphins, Patriots, and Steelers lose. The problem is they won't find that out until Sunday. So I don't think that'll come into play. I think ultimately we're going to get a Super Bowl-like effort from both of these teams. There's only one way to bet this game, and that is to take the points with the Titans. I don't love it, as I think the Jags are the hottest team in football right now, and the Titans are on a total free fall. But this is a must-win game for both teams, a division rivalry game for both teams, and a game that has a very low total, which is crucially important when looking to bet underdogs. I know the Jags seem like the better team here, and they really are probably the better team, but this is still a veteran Tennessee Titans team, one who's gotten into the playoffs the last few years, and one who knows what it takes to get it done. The bottom line here is, with this total being so low, the bookmakers are not expecting a lot of points to be scored, and I think the Titans are going to slow this game down to an absolute crawl. Can the Titans win this game? Why not? They need one really good game from Henry and a few defensive stops here or there, maybe a couple of turnovers, and they can win this game outright. I'm not going to put any money on the money line here, but I'll happily take plus 6.5. So we're going to take Tennessee plus 6.5 in this game. Now we turn our attention to the Rams versus Seattle. Great game here, guys. Hugely important for Seattle, obviously. And we do have money coming in on the Rams. It was plus 6.5. There's now sixes all over the board. The total in this game is 41.5. And the only way to play this game, from my perspective, is to take Seattle minus the points. Last week, we bet against Baker and the Rams, and we were right. And this week, I believe the same Rams team is going to show up. The bottom line here is this team came into the season as the Super Bowl champs, feeling really good about themselves, and now they can't wait for Sunday to be over. Meanwhile, the Seahawks have to win this game to have any chance of making the playoffs. The issue is, can the Hawks score enough to cover minus 6.5? And I think they can. They covered that number easily against a Jets team that still had something to play for. And take out the two games against San Fran and Kansas City, and this Seattle team has put up over 20 points in almost every single game they've played this year. I cannot see the Rams putting up 14. I look at this game, 21-14. We still cover the number 6. I'm not touching the total, but I do like under 17 as the team total for the Rams. So in this game, I will be betting the Rams under 17 team total and Seattle minus the 6. Now we look at the New York Giants going into Philadelphia. New York Giants here are plus 14. The total in this game is 43. Giants are in and are likely going to sit guys, while the Eagles still need to win this game to have the Cowboys lose to get the number 1 seed. With Hurst injured, that number 1 seed is massive. With that said, I'm going to pass on this game. Dable says they will play their starters, but I don't believe him. And even if they do, how long are they going to play for? As for taking the Eagles, they just want to win this game and get out of Dodge without any injuries. Pass on the Giants, Philadelphia. Next game up is the New York Jets, minus 1 to 1.5. It started at the New York Jets plus 1, so we've seen a lot of money coming in on the Jets. The total in this game is 38. Huge game for Miami. They are in it if they win and the Jets and Pats lose, and the Patriots are playing Buffalo, and while the Jets are the Jets. Jets will want to win this game, and Miami still has playoff hopes, but who the hell will be their QB? And they're not exactly playing great football right now. They've lost 5 games in a row. But keep in mind, guys, all of Miami's losses were against tough opponents, and all were 1-score losses. I look at this game, and I think both teams have the same record, but only one can make the playoffs, and Miami gets in with a win here and a Patriots loss. And the Patriots loss is, in my opinion, quite likely. I have to believe, regardless of who is playing for the Dolphins, that they will play their asses off. Miami is the play here, and they are even getting points. I know many of you believe in this nonsense called the trap. And perhaps you think, why are the Jets slightly favored? Is this a trap? Trust me, there is no such thing as a trap. Nobody's laying a trap. The bookmakers aren't trying to trick you. There is no trap. This line is what it is. We're taking Miami plus 1 against the New York Jets. As for the next game, Detroit going into Green Bay, minus 4.5. 49.5 is the total. This happens to be the Sunday night game, and I think this was terrible scheduling. I don't get it at all. If Seattle wins earlier in the day, Detroit is out of it, and this game becomes, albeit great football, but not nearly as important as it could have been if, say, they played this game on Saturday night. Anyway, I want to see the Lions win here. I want to see them win so bad. I am personally so sick of Aaron Rodgers, and I really like this Detroit team and what they are building. With that said, there is no chance I'm betting against the Pack in this spot. Destiny is in their hands after a brutal season, and they are at home in the freezing cold. Detroit, on the other hand, has already shown us that an indoor team struggles on grass in shitty weather. They lost outdoors versus Carolina and were barely able to score on grass against the Jets. Furthermore, the Seattle game would have ended, like we spoke about, And if Seattle wins, Detroit is out, and who knows what they're going to do. I know Detroit will want to win no matter what. That is what I believe. But knowing they are out of the playoffs an hour before the game starts has to take an emotional toll on the team. Bottom line on the side, if Seattle loses and the line is still plus 4.5, I really like the Lions. If Seattle wins and the line goes up to minus 6.5, I still like Green Bay. So this is, as of now, a pass for me on the side. But don't worry, I do lean on the total to go over here. First off, we'll see Detroit going for it on fourth downs a lot, and they have been really good in that spot. As well, we have seen Green Bay put up points finally. Their last 5 games, guys, they have put up 41, 26, 24, 28, and 33 points. With that said, be careful betting this game, but I do like over the total. Now we turn our attention to Cleveland going into Pittsburgh. And before I get into this game, I just want to compliment Mike Tomlin for what I think might be his greatest coaching year ever. Just an outstanding job by Pittsburgh, especially of late. Now they find themselves in the hunt, and they are in if the Dolphins and the Pats lose. And look, the Dolphins are not even favored against the New York Jets, as we spoke about. And the Pats are going to struggle against Buffalo. Right now, the line is plus 7.5. So the Steelers really could get in here, guys. But let's focus on this game and how to bet it. The total in this game was 39. It's now 40.5, which means a lot of smart money thinks this game will go over. Well, I don't. This is a stone cold under, and although I think we see both teams open their offense up a bit, this Pittsburgh D is so sick, with no team scoring more than 17 points against them in 6 straight games. Check out what opponents have scored on Pittsburgh in the last 6 games. 13 points, 10 points, 16, 16, 16, and 17 points. As for the Steelers' offense, their last 5 games, 16, 13, 24, 14, and 19 points scored. And Cleveland's D is playing much better than they did at the beginning of the season. In Cleveland's last 6 games, their opponents have put up 10, 17, 3, 23, 14, and 17 points, which is an outstanding defensive effort. And their offense is, well, as bad as their D is good. The Cleveland offense in their last 4 games, 24, 10, 13, and 10. I have no idea who is going to score in this game. 40.5 seems like a lot of points. I cannot bet the side here, guys. I know Pittsburgh needs this game, but Cleveland will want to end the season winning 3 of their last 4 games with their new QB. And plus, these games always are tight, no matter who is behind center, no matter which team needs to win. I'm going to pass on the side. I'm going to take under the total of 40.5 at the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game. Next up is Houston versus Indianapolis. Here we have a line of Houston plus 2.5 and a total of 38. Look, Houston needs a QB. Bryce Young is available. And all they have to do is lose this game, and they get him. With that said, Lovey and the players don't care about stuff like that and will play hard, and Indy will try their hardest to win as well for Jeff Saturday. If I had to bet this mess, I would take the Colts on the money line, but I just think they suck so bad that this game is going to be a pass. Sorry, guys. Pass in Houston and Indianapolis. Now we turn our attention to Arizona, plus 14 against San Fran, a total in this game of 40.5. Another game that will be affected by outside influences. If Philly lays the smackdown on the New York Giants, and they are favored to do that, this game becomes less important to the Niners. They're still playing with a second seed, and the second seed is important. It does give them one more home game, but this line reflects that already. I also think the Cards are going to try to get one for Watt and will play hard, albeit I don't know if that will even matter. If you can't get, here's how I want you guys to bet this game. Bottom line, I like San Fran minus 7 in the first half. Currently, there are 7s out there. Currently, there are 7.5s. If you can get a minus 7 in the first half, that is the bet on this game. Next up, we have the LA Chargers minus what was 3 and now is plus 1.5. I think the Chargers play to win this game, guys. Many people say that teams don't care who they play in the playoffs. I don't buy that for 1 second. If the Chargers win this game, they play Jacksonville or Tennessee. If they lose this game, they play Cincinnati, Kansas City, or Buffalo. Come on, man. How could the Chargers not care about that? I know Denver is a new coach, etc., and will play well. But as this game winds down, Wilson and the Broncos are just going to want to get out of the season and move on to some golf. This is a very short number here, and now all of a sudden they find themselves as a dog. There's no other way to look at this game but to take the Chargers plus 1.5. They're playing great D of late, and remember, this was one of the worst defenses in all of football for their first 10 games. Everyone is back and healthy. Staley is a guy who doesn't take losing well. However, we do have one problem here. The Baltimore game is at 1 p.m. and will be over before this one starts. If the Ravens lose, this game is completely and totally meaningless to the LA Chargers. So be careful when betting this game. If the Ravens win, I am loving the Chargers. If the Ravens lose, I am laying off of this game completely. Now we're going to turn our attention to a whole lot of games I'm going to be passing in. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta, not going to touch it. Dallas versus Washington, not going to touch it. Carolina versus New Orleans, not even close to touching it. As for New England against Buffalo, I don't know what to do here, guys. I mean, New England is fighting for their lives. With that said, I think the Hamlin injury is going to galvanize Buffalo. It's going to bring them together. They're going to have another mission on their hands, not only to win the Super Bowl, but to play for their fallen comrade. I don't know where to go in this game at all. I'm sorry. It's a pass. As for Baltimore against Cincinnati, not touching this game either, guys. Since he's going to want to win this game, but this line is too big here, and who knows what their mental makeup is after Monday night. Let's just move on. Lastly, Minnesota against Chicago. Guys, the line yesterday on Wednesday was -3.5. It is now -7.5 to -8 for Minnesota. And that is because, well, the Bears have officially decided to tank. Probably a few games. Well, they've lost every game in their last 1,000,000. So, they're not going to catch Houston, but they could. They're starting Peterson at QB, and that guy's a disaster. At first, I didn't like this game, but now I see Mini as the only way to bet this, but not on the game. We got to look at taking Mini -4 in the first half. This Minnesota team is going to come out flying. They're going to want to go into the playoffs with a good feeling, and there is a real legit chance that they pull all their starters coming into the second half of this game. I really like this bet here, guys, and initially I was going to pass, but I am leaning on Minnesota -4 in the first half. That's it, top to bottom. The board is done. Meghan Payton coming up to give you some props. I'll be back right after her with your show best bets. Stay with us, everyone. Meghan, the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much, Prez. A heavy week in the NFL with all thoughts and concerns for safety Damar Hamlin. We have heard some positive news over the last 24 hours, which is very encouraging. We'll be sure to update you when more news comes out. Yet football seems so secondary right now. NFL Week 18 is still scheduled as planned. And so I'm going to be eyeing 3 player props all in Saturday Night Football. Let's start with Chiefs Raiders. My first player prop is tight end Travis Kelce over 71.5 receiving yards. Sometimes the move is to bet on what works, and the duo between Mahomes and Kelce is better than ever. Kelce has hit over 71.5 receiving yards 10 times this season, 3 of the last 4 games. In fact, Kelce's about to beat his own record for receiving yards by a tight end in a single season. Kelce's got great speed for his size, and the connection between Mahomes and Kelce is better than ever. Take over 71.5 receiving yards for Kelce. Let's switch over to Titans Jags, a huge game, AFC South on the line. I like quarterback Trevor Lawrence over 15 and a half rushing yards. So often we focus on Lawrence and his passing yards, but let's not forget what he can do on the ground. 2 weeks ago, Trevor Lawrence rushed for 51 yards. 3 of the last 5 games, he's rushed for over 20 yards. Trevor Lawrence can make explosive plays on the ground. And though the Titans' run defense has been great, they've still let players like Daniel Jones, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes all rush over 15 and a half yards. I don't see why Trevor Lawrence can't do this. Take over 15 and a half rushing yards for Lawrence. Lastly, for Jags Titans, I'm going to look at wide receiver Christian Kirk over 4.5 receptions. Christian Kirk leads Jags receivers in targets and in receiving yards. He's only hit over this number 2 of the last 4 games, but the last time Kirk played the Titans, he had 5 receptions. The Titans are doing terrible on pass defense. They're allowing the most pass attempts in the league. The Jags, top 10 in pass attempts. I like Kirk over 4.5 receptions. This has been a tough week for sports in general, for the NFL as a whole, but we will look positive lights. We are sending our thoughts to Damar Hamlin as we continue on with NFL Week 18.
Great stuff, Megan. Love having you on with us. I've got 3 show best bets for you guys. First off, Minnesota, first half bet -4. Next is Seattle -6.5. And the last one is the over in the Detroit Green Bay game. Guys, tread carefully this week. It's a tough week. It's a counterintuitive week. Teams that play under are going to go over. Teams that play over are going to go under. Bad teams are going to find ways to win. Good teams are going to find ways to lose. This is not the week to be making a whole lot of bets. Just play 3 to 5 tops. Get out of this week, and we'll move on to the playoffs. I will be doing a show next week, and then as we go week to week in the playoffs, we will figure it out. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Lawrence Presman. We'll see you next week. Namaste.